Alright, got a good video coming at you. Gotta do this carefully with this phone. It's me, Billy. Okay, check this out. It's gonna be great. So, I'm gonna cover a couple of things, but first I want to talk to my image just for a minute. And then I'm gonna play some music in the background that relates to this. Okay, so this bank is right here, right beyond this truck. That's the sign that I took. And they're talking about peace of mind with secure lock, Chambers, secure equip. Everything is quantum financial system mindset that they speak of behind the scenes, but call it the digital man. Okay, 440 is a vibe, 60 is nice, but the digital wallet's now available. So that's what it says on this thing. That's where we're starting from. It's here now. You have to go to Bill Gates in 15-minute cities that are under construction, heavy, big money. Vinnick down in Tampa, City of Atlantis in Las Vegas, New York's wired up, AT&T's is a big box, digital wallet. You're in, remotely, seismically, genetically, if you vaxxed, you're just in. Zuckerberg is deep. He's just got Facebook. That's enough. How'd he get it? Ask it that way. If the other guy had MySpace, why did he get how he went? Well, it was through the Central Intelligence Agency that's got some, stuff tied to it. So I call this a Zuck trick, or a trick Zuck. Behind the 8-ball. And 808 is porn, proper use, but Nabal had a heart attack, and that's going to get to my story. So yeah, Chambers Bank, and here I wrote Epstein. That's the red behind the scenes. Black Heart, it's a club. Digital wallet, Ghislaine Maxwell, Bill Gates, Microsoft, MS 2020, Trump 2020, Windows, name it, paint it on your wall, thought. Really custom, but digital wallet's here now. You can walk right into it. It's there. The conversion's there seamlessly. Seems like dollar for dollar, day to day. You got a digital wallet to prove it, and a blue screen of death, because you're going to die. Or you'll be rescued in 2030 when you come out of this madness. You'll be entrapped. We'll be away in the forest, hoping not to burn, and we won't. So let's get to our image. Let's get to the heart of the matter of Trump 2020, the mark of the Corona man. Digital man, Corona man. Jared Kushner awaits with Henry Kissinger. Not enough room for Jabba and the pandas. Roll them up. Okay. So up here, way up here, we're just cutting off right here and saying, hey, go ahead, come back. Go ahead, come back. You're over here. Go ahead, come back. Go ahead, come back. If you're in the Philippines, they can do that all day. Emmanuel, left to right. Okay. Yes, left to right. Okay. And they mean it. She's, sir. Okay, so enough before I sneeze. There's a star of David. He's a man. David was a man. He was chosen. Chosen by his love of the right women. This can be expressed so many ways, but I'm going to do it with his first 1 and 3. Wives 1 and 3. Right here. Put some colors on them. And attributes of what you'd meet in the finest person you'd ever want to meet. And they met David. So person number 1, wife 1, Michal, the daughter of Saul. He collected foreskins from Philistines, for Saul. Saul. It's just a name. He was a predecessory king. Must have been human. Give him that much. He was working with David. David took over. But his daughter was Michal, and she stood up to her. He gave, because of the foreskins, he got her. Because he wanted to get all of them. All the other Hittites. So he was getting them. And then, of course, there were Nephilim out there. You had flipping Goliath. My God. Huge. They were out there running it. Fallen angels. We're going back now 2,000 years. The last drop was 2080 BC. So they had time to move around and hibernate and incubate and resonate. Because he ended up with Bathsheba. That's another story. That's Solomon. We're going back now. The life of David. The life of David. King David. King David. That Jewish star of Hebron. Connect it all, people. Connect it all. If you're Jewish, listen. This has got to be pseudo-rabbinical. So his first wife stood up to Saul, her father, because suddenly he had imprisoned David. It's like, well, what are you doing? Number one, I love the guy. Number two, you told me to marry him. And number three, I let him go. Okay, so that was her in a nutshell. She didn't die from that. She eventually did some sort of equivalent thing to David. Oh, this could really get into a bad situation. We have to recall this from the grave. Yes, we did it. Wow. Okay, so back to the story. That's wife one. His first wife. How they ended up, him needing other women, I can't say. He was on the run for his kingship. Because after he whipped that slingshot into the eyeball of that critter, and it dropped, the boy said, "You hit it. We're going with you." "Oh, you are? You are? Okay, let's go." And they were gone. Living off the land, getting where they needed to go, moving. Tactics. Moving. Now, somewhere, vicinity Hebron, and closer to Carmel, Haifa region, he's on the run. There's a man named Nabal, who is a husband of Abigail. Okay, so we have a husband and wife existing, and this man, who's a boy who's on the run, moving out. He's got to feed his men. It's logistics. So he says, "Go send a runner and tell him I need help." And he said, "If I don't know, it wasn't even that. It was a Jewish man with a black beard or something, who had a big business and lots of money because he was smart enough to marry her. Go with the King of Jordan marrying the movie star. That's close enough, because that happened. But it's Abigail. He says go, and then the word gets back to him, and he says, "Huh? I'm coming." She put out the mules and the food and went to him and said, "Hey, my husband made a mistake. I understand the mistake. I fixed it. Please, please, please." And he said, "Okay, I'm out of here." Wow, okay, bye. He had a heart attack and died. No such thing as a coincidence. Donald Trump eats a lot of Big Macs. We all die. So, back to this inversion of everything. Orange. Spell it, well, some way. Anyway, back here, these two women, they represent unity consciousness for all the right reasons. They did what they did, and he came back for her. David came back for Abigail and became wife 3 because he didn't forget. So, that's the story of his 2 wives, and that's part of his tapestry, which is why he was chosen for all the things he did, to include the mistake that he made when Bathsheba, like Beyonce, took that shower. And please, at that point, shut it down. Church to Beyonce. Holy kryptonite. Saltpeter. Let's use our genetic divine authority to, number one, if you're a bird brain, appreciate what you got. I mean, a real bird has wings and they whip around. I'm talking about you. Come on, if you're a bird brain, at least appreciate what you got. And when you make jokes about adoration and trying to get stuff bigger and they're advertising for it, you on the wrong track. You're going down Kanye West, Bilderberg country. That's just another path. You have to be proud of who you are and get over it and move on. .org. Find a woman someday and be happy till then. Because they'll come along if you don't have one. Especially if you're going to be immortal. That's what this is really all about. And for that, I'd like to ascend up to the Cathars and the music that I intended to play. So this is a class of humans. This is their words. When the plowman returns from plowing, he plants his cattle prod. Look, this woman's laid out. This guy's name is Patrick Leak, and he's singing an ancient chant. I mean, just think about the action of moving a cow with an electric prod, and then he finds his wife at the front of the fire. He was like the church guy, and he had to watch it. He couldn't bust it down. It's a husband and wife that are like, you know, they'll see each other again in another life, and he'll be doing that again. But this time it's like the Mayflowers come over, and it's the whole Boston area of, okay, burn them. Scarlet Letter, they wrote about it. Jump to the mind of Mark Twain, because we have minds if you read. You know, it's just intended for us to wake up. If you read in Revelation, I know there's a correlation to somewhere in there about a miniature horn. And that was the Vatican planting itself in there from like the original horns. And this whole particular section that was known as the Cathars was exterminated to the last. Genghis Khan driven, because that's how he did his thing. You know, he wiped out collectives, Genghis Khan, and they were gone. So then there was nothing left but the people that were living there, that he put there. You know, in this case, it's like England, France, you know, writ large. Druids, you know, the nature of the people. The best versions of the people of that era. You know, the Pope struck out right from the same echoes of the chambers of the echoes of the, you know, this guy can sing another similar hymn, and it's like satanic, you know, dragging blood into it. You're a half step away with this, and it's just worthy to take it all in, knowing that there's a Jedi warrior named Ryan who was teasing Laura Eisenhower about, oh look, let's have a vote whether she was burned at the stake. Yeah, we were Cathars. This is Rose right here. It's like, okay, go ahead. It only hurts for a minute. Then it's over. And maybe they strapped them up, and maybe they, could be horrific. I can't imagine everyone laying down and not making any noise, but hey, come back. Come back. Just look at the nature of that costume. I mean, the white's on the inside. It's first, but it gets covered by the black. The clerics put it on the women in Saudi. It's a black night and every day in the light of the day in that airport. It's got to stop. Our skin needs to breathe. Not to mention our mouths. We all come back. Come back from the mark of the beast, by God. The PCR test, she's laying down for it. Thought there's a dark web. Oh, it's enough to make you want to do something fully fantastic. But come back to this. And remember that Liberty's got a torch. That's the prior personality of the Blessed Mother. Many immigrated and walked through that island and put their names down and have documentation to prove it. Some speak Irish, some speak Italian, some speak Jewish, some speak, hey, come on, I don't need to do that. Whoop! They came over. And they were here, they were on the Mayflower, they didn't need to process. Oh, maybe they got there ahead of us. Then you look at family names, and one is Franklin. Franklin, Delaware? No, not quite Biden. We're talking Benjamin Franklin. This is all in the same video. The harmonica. Turn that Stanley Cup on its side and start pedaling with some thimbles. Then you're going to go batshit crazy before you know it and scare them kids to the point where even Mozart and Bach and Beethoven said, no, we're not writing that anymore because they're killing each other. I mean, Screaming Mimi, somehow he did it. Oh, Benny boy. But just to say, he signed that document. He sailed back and forth, primarily France, where he was known to be with women. And that man floated a note that put us in debt. Right there for King George. King George Washington, who did a hermetic backflip to be Barbara Bush. If you believe Robin Williams. Unfortunately, he suicided out, so I'll speak on his behalf. As I never really could, but he was way too quick. Robin McMahon is with us, man, just like Freddie Mercury, damn it. He stuck it on me, and I got it. That ain't no Magic Johnson. The man became the president of the LA Lakers after attaining AIDS. So you gotta go in some sort of order. Anunnaki, Billy Carson. I don't know about that. Magic ain't gonna do no Billy Carson. See, you got those first cousins. You gotta do it. At some point, you gotta go all the way up, past the lies and the bullshit. Past Mahmoud al-Sisi. There's only one way to go. It's right here, this man right here, the one that could shoot that cue ball from this shot, off the digital, over the mic chambers, through the love connection. Then he go ahead and come back with a big head. And he's going to go back to Michael and Abigail and get him a Statue of Liberty. And man, it could be anybody but Frank. Blank Frank. Tony Phillips. Or Tom Ortega, Barry, Osama, Obama, Columbus. Oh my God, what did he do? the lives, the saturation of blood, because they were thirsty, bloodthirsty pirates. Do you hear the words, bloodthirsty? Like food. It tasted good. Well, it tasted like chicken. You know what I mean? Cut the arms off. Hey, come here. You gonna serve me? You're not dead yet. They had talent. They don't talk about that because they didn't have bandages. So you know, maybe it wasn't a long action. You want to be a cretin. That's where they want to take you. I was just a cretin. I apologize for even getting that disgusting. But yeah, now you go straight to it. Back to Epstein, baby. They got submarines. They got it locked tight with Scotty what's-his-name and blowing that whistle. And that's where they want you to go. For that shot. See-through walls. That was always the imaginary, you know. Let's say the special ops community wanted something that could see through walls. Like, you know, just as a way to think about, okay, now that we know what we can't do, let's say that they wanted that, and then that's where we're going. Of course, when your capability exceeds your enthusiasm, then you end up falling on your face. Because you didn't hear the start line go off on 9/11. Digital wallet. It was a natural event. It's very authentic. Planned by the Angels. 75 years before the birth. And a natural duration prior to that was an official conception of a man and a woman. How about that? Joseph and Mary. Both selected by Gabrielle. Well, not by her. She just provided the Giso-like interface because it was spoken to both of them. She's on your left, by the way. If you don't want to remember that, that's all right. Guan Yin's on your left also. But Guan Yin is like transcendent. That's the water. And then thank it and stare into it and float in it. And Yeshua is present everywhere. Because he's the king. My brother. He did it. It hurt. That's his. Call that his grandmother. If you want to do a real mommy jump. And I don't want to do that because you have precious angels like Anne and Elizabeth, and they all tie in with bees and honey, and we own it all. We own it all. So I'm going to stop recording here and wish everybody knowledge and love, okay? If I have to wear these glasses for a lot longer, I know there's micro-metallic stuff that's in my right eye. So I was misdiagnosed as having amblyopia, which is a lazy eye because the other eye takes over. So there's truth to that, and that it was not early exercise, but, you know, Matt Schmidt said there's infinite versions of us, so I'm just going to call out a version 1.1.1.1 that should have the right ocular capacity with the metallic particles removed. So it could be introduction of a technology that removes the metal, or it dissolves, or it's my day for that miracle. Because I'm patient with it, but it's going to come. So I love everybody. Think like that. No matter who you are, what your injury is. I had a colostomy. I have an artificial hip. I'm immortal, so I'm a test baby if there ever was one. And to all those that watch this ages from now, God love you for being here with me. Because you can watch this movie and then look at me and say, you made that in 2023? And I'll say yes. And I'll say the Catholics live. 900 million of us. Take your turn in the box.